I call this meeting of the Benton County Board of Education to order. If you will rise with me, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Shannon opened our Teacher of the Year reception with prayers. Thank you for that. Ms. Michelle, will you put forward?
Miss Arnold? Here. Mr. Hedge?
Here.
Mr. Mills?
Here.
Miss Douglas?
Here.
Mr. Marks?
Here.
Mr. Blue?
Here.
Mr. Thornton?
Here.
Miss Miss Farkas? Mr. Farkas?
Here.
Mr. Livingston?
Here.
Mr. Wieners?
Here.
Mr. Hyatt?
Here.
Miss Kennan?
Here.
12 present.
With 12%, we do have a quorum. Next on our agenda is approval of the agenda. To approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Remember that with the approval of the agenda, we are approving the consent agenda, which includes approval of the January minutes, approval of substitutes pending background checks, approving February the 6th as Principal Appreciation Day, which is a youth trust day, and the approval of Glenn Digley as a non-staff CHS baseball assistant coach. All those in favor of, are there any additions or corrections? If not, we will vote. All those in favor of approving the agenda and the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Ayes have it. The agenda and the consent agenda both pass. Next on our agenda is the approval of the policy committee report. Mr. Tim Hyatt, would you like to read your report?
You quit calling me Mr. Oh, man. Okay. The Benton County Board of Education Policy Committee met on Thursday, January 3rd, 5:30 at the BOE Support Center Conference Room. Present was myself, Mr. Livingston, Mr. Winters, Ms. Douglas, Mr. Blue, Mr. Mills, Ms. Kennan, Mr. Hartis, Ms. Arnold, Mr. Hedge, Mr. Marks, and Director Mark Florence. Committee met to review and discuss the following: TSBA policy recommendations on policy 4.603, promotion and retention, policy 5.118, background checks. We reviewed the 26-27 calendar, school calendar. We reviewed policy 1.8011, emergency closing. The committee also discussed employee dress requirements. Recommendation was made to approve policy 4.603, policy 5.11. Revisions on first reading at February 3rd meeting. 4 meetings, and all approved. Make accept that report.
We have a motion and a second to approve the policy committee report. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, we will vote. All in favor of approving the policy committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Ayes have it. The policy committee report has been approved. Next on our agenda is the approval of policies 4.603 and 5.118 on first reading.
I'll make the motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve policies 4.603 and 5.118 on first reading. Do we have any discussion?
Chair, I just put the changes on 4.603 because it's 5 pages, so the only change was that voluntary retention, and then in March at the regular meeting, it'll be a full policy on second
Any further discussion?
These were TSBA's recommendations.
reading. Correct.
Anything further? With no further discussion or questions, we will vote. All those in favor of approving policies 4.603 and 5.118 on first reading, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. Ayes have it. These policies have passed on first reading. We will vote on them for their second reading at our next full board meeting. Next on our agenda is the approval of the Budget Committee report. Mr. Mark Purvis, would you like to read that report?
Benton County Board of Education Budget Committee met on Thursday, January 24th, 2025 at 10 p.m. Present were myself, Mr. Winters, Mr. Hedge, Ms. Arnold, Mr. Blue, Ms. Douglas, Mr. Hyatt, Mr. Livingston, Ms. Kennan, Mr. Mills, Mr. Marks, and Director Mark Plummer. Committee met to discuss and review the following: proposed 25 and 26 employee supplements and proposed raises, 2,500 for certified staff and 2,000 for non-licensed staff, and the 2045 and 26 budget projects. The recommendation was made to approve the proposed 25 and 26 11 and 12 month employee supplements and the 2025 and 26 through 2028 29 supplement scale. All approved. The committee also recommended Director Clark present additional 10.5 and 11 months supplements at the next budget meeting for head coaches outside of the high school basketball and football. Meeting is adjourned. I'll open that up in a motion to be approved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Budget Committee report. Are there any comments?
I asked about the cross-country county junior high getting the supplement. You were gonna check it. I don't see it on here.
I will make a note. We'll discuss it at the budget meeting, our next budget meeting.
Anything further? If not, we will have a roll call vote on the approval of this Budget Committee report. Ms. Michelle, will you please call roll?
Miss Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Hedge?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Miss Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Blue?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Livingston?
Yeah.
Mr. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Hyatt?
Yes.
Miss Kennan?
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? 12 yes, 0 no.
With 12 yes, that committee report passes or is approved. Next on our agenda is approval of budget resolutions. There are 3, I believe.
Make way of approval as presented. I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve these as presented. Mr. Lawrence, would you like to explain them?
The two of this general, resolutions, the one with the 167,167.50, that's our TISA. That's the one we always receive in January, and the comptroller's office requires that we budget that. So, we just, Ms. Fowler and I just sit down and budget those in those codes. But they do require we put that into the budget, so that's what that is. Federal budget was just having to move that 19,000 into contracted services that are a little short, and then just health supplies, needed an increase in that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If no further discussion, Ms. Michelle, will you please call roll? We are approving these budget resolutions as written.
Miss Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Hedge?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Miss Douglas? Mr. Marks? Mr. Blue?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
Mr. Livingston?
Yes.
Mr. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Hyatt?
Yes.
Miss Kennan?
Yes.
Would anyone like to change their vote? 12 yes.
With 12 yes, those budget resolutions pass as they are presented. Next on our agenda is the director's report.
All right, thank you. First of all, congratulations to our 6 Teacher of the Year recipients, and thank you to the board for allowing us funds in our budget to recognize those individuals. And we're hoping to do maybe even more at the end of the year for them and to recognize some more of our employees. So just thank you for that. They do a great job, and thank you for giving us that opportunity. I know School Board Appreciation Week was last week, but thank you for all you do. We were actually talking about that in the office, and I know Mr. Baloo just come back from new school board training. There's a lot being on the school board, and we just appreciate your professionalism and what you do, and more importantly, your concern for our students. So just thank you for all you do. The Briarwood Roof Project is complete. They still have some equipment over there. They still have some work to do around the grounds. They started, and obviously when it's cold and the ground freezes and then it starts warming up, it's pretty soft. So I think they're probably going to come back a little later, early spring, which would make more sense. But they do have most of the areas leveled out, but it is complete, and hopefully all the equipment will be gone. That project will be completely over. The old Big Sandy gym heat, I talked to you about that. Those heaters are out, and they're supposed to install those at the end of this week or first of next week. That floor, as the temperature started changing, we've been noticing a little moisture, and we sure don't want that to build it to start having damage. So they're going to put that in, approximately about a $13,000 project. Also, the Camden Elementary gym units are probably close to 20 years old. They cannot keep that gym heated or cooled when it's really cold or really hot to the point where they need to. The estimate we received is approximately $20,000. We do have that in the budget. We may have to move it like from in the capital project series from site development into HVAC, but I think that's something we need to do because they're old, they're wore out, and so we've got a couple of quotes on that. In the low quote, I'm not looking at it, but it's right at $20,000. So we'll probably move forward on that. That'll be all right with you, Ms. Christie?
That would be great.
The next thing is, I don't know if you remember, but I did warn you at the beginning of last year, we did not budget funds for the adoption of the new science textbooks. But Ms. Phelps will tell you and our team it's coming fast. And we put $180,000 in the budget for textbooks. That's the normal amount that we put in. So hopefully we'll have a little of that left that we can add towards this, but we're estimating around $450,000 to $500,000 that we will have to remove from fund balance to pay for the new textbooks. I guess it's a good thing. They're now on an 8-year cycle instead of a 6-year cycle. So we were talking about when you put that $50,000, $60,000 a year, it doesn't sound as bad, but that's something we have to do, and that's K through 12, and we have textbook committees working on that. Thank you to Ms. Phelps for heading that up, and that just give you a word of caution before May. We will be moving those funds in the budget to make sure those are taken care of.
So that's in addition to what we're going.
Yes, yes. With that said, just for hedge, hopefully we'll have 50 to 80,000 left in textbooks. So that 500,000 is the total.
Sure.
So we hope. Best case scenario, 350 to 400 out of fund balance for a request to see. Update on our camera systems. Special thanks to Mr. Phelps and Dr. Shannon for writing that grant. Dr. Shannon has spent some time the last couple of days on amending that grant so we can put cameras in every school. Once we get that approved, our recommendation is to run the cable, put new cameras in every school in this system, and hopefully we can have that done by spring. With that said, it's going to be a cost of about $120,000 additional to the county. But it's about a $700,000 project when you count the high school, which we've already paid for. The high school hasn't been installed because it was done with a different grant. It is state-of-the-art equipment. We're still learning how to use it, but just to give you an example, if Amy Davis walks through the parking lot, you can put in Red's shirt, and it's only going to pick up the people during the day that walk through that parking lot with a red shirt. And that's pretty generic, but that's and we just feel like it's important. Usually we go this school, that school, but with this grant, we're able to do all schools. So we feel like once we get that amendment to that grant, that'll bring the grant to a little over 400,000, and then I think the total project is right at 550 to get the rest of the schools. We could wait and do this office and the maintenance building and Benton County Academy next year, which would not be a huge deal. But once we get that approved, I'll keep you in touch. But I think we've talked about it. I think we're all in agreement that no school is more important than any of the other, and we get them all up to date with the best surveillance possible. Yes.
These fees be available at the sheriff's department?
Yes. Yeah. And be much more, the ones we have are just old. I mean, they're 5 or 6 years old, but yes, much easier. The house should be better. All those things. All right. Next thing, and I don't want to, we just can't talk about it, but it was a little bit of the topic, so I thought I would bring it up. We can't discuss plans and procedures in public as far as safety of our schools. That our safety plans and procedures are confidential by statute and are not open to public dissemination, nor are they subject to open record requests. We follow the security standards and practices as determined by the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security and the Department of Education. The one thing I can tell you as a board, we can discuss this like at our spring planning and amongst the board. I can tell you every administrator, every teacher, every SRO, we do our absolute best to make the decisions that we think are best for our students and staff with what we have. I wish we were perfect, and we're not, but I can tell you we're blessed to have Mr. Phelps leading our safety team, and we're meeting with Homeland Security Wednesday, and any time throughout the course of the year we have an incident, we document that. We sit down with Homeland Security. We're going to come up with some suggestions Wednesday, maybe to get our safety, our SROs maybe meeting more often and bring that together. But I just wanted to bring that up, and it's very important that as a school board member, you realize that if there's something going on with safety, I can't discuss that with you at this meeting, but we can have meetings with our safety committees and do that. So if you're asking the community, it puts you in a spot, but it's pretty clear by statute, and it's for the protection of our students and staff. So, all right, we do need to schedule a policy and budget committee meeting. We're scheduled to go before the county budget committee on March the 6th. The mayor's office and the county commission is always great to work with us because we just don't really have a good idea of our projections that early in March, but we can present some preliminary numbers to them. It's just with this month's calendar, and I'm going to tell you that in a minute, if we could meet on Thursday, the 27th, policy at 5:30, and would that work for you, Mr. Hyde?
Yes, sir.
And budget at 6. Mr. Hargis, would that work for you? That's Thursday, the 27th. That will give us the most time before March, so hopefully we will have some piece of projections, or at least we can put some of our numbers in. The state does offer a calculator, and we can put in some numbers. I'd have a better idea with that. I do not have this on my list, but it was brought up, so I'll go ahead and address it. The bonus, I'm not going to get into the Education Freedom Act. As one board member said, it's passed, and we're going to move forward and do the best we can. That bonus has brought up a lot of topic. it was amended to the bill. Was my understanding was, it's not my understanding, I know, I was there when it come across the fax machine, but, my understanding is that you as a school board are gonna have to agree to accept the bonus through the Education Freedom Act. It is not saying you agree with the Education Freedom Act, that you agree, disagree. It's just in order for our teachers to get that bonus, we as the board are gonna have to have a resolution saying that, we opt in for our teachers to get the bonus. We'll talk more about that, at our budget meeting. Hopefully we'll have more details. We all have to, politics at its best, but anyway, I've had more teachers than you could think tell me what they think, but I don't want to miss that opportunity for our teachers, no matter what we think about the decision that was made. So we will discuss that at our budget meeting. I'll be attending the TOS Legislative Conference next week, February 11th through the 13th. I'll see, if you need me, text me, call me. If you call the office, they'll let you know how to get in touch with me. I'll just be in a meeting. So feel free to reach out if you need. And then on February 19th and 20th, I have to take Millette to our yearly, it's a sweet Saturday yearly trip to Houston. So we'll be gone those 2 days, and then that should be the only time I'm out. Be thinking about, would you like to visit a House and Senate Education Committee meeting? I mean, the legislation will be meeting through March. We've had some really good trips. Whether we enjoy the committee meetings, I think it's been great for the board and going on those. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know, and I'll get with the TOS office, and we'll try to get a calendar date where there's some items that are very important that you being there could very well make a difference. And we'll go up, and if you have never been, it's worth the trip. I'm not going to say you'll agree with everything they do, but I do think it's a good experience to see how that process works. So if you're interested in that, and I'll send you an email or a text. You don't have to, you know, yes, that sounds like how many thinks that's a good idea that you might be interested? Okay. That's enough I will get with the TOS staff next week and schedule us time. Or a lot of times it's better to wait, and then when they set their calendar on Thursday for the next week, for me to reach out and say, hey, this is going to be on the agenda on the House committee on Tuesday, whatever date, and we go. But I'll keep you up to date there. March the 3rd, don't forget the board meeting is at Holiday School. Miss Amy would be disappointed if she gets ready and we don't show up. So I will send you texts, and I'll send you your memo, and I'll also send you a text the day of. And then on March the 4th, the next day, from 1 to 8 p.m., Tammy Grissom with TSBA will be here, and our topic is Benton County teaming and the school board, and that will put your 7 hours of credit. And so I've put you an agenda there, and they're going to come here, which obviously TSBA charges us, but it's a lot better than us all 12 going to Nashville. So, but she will be here. I will remind you, because I know some of you need some of your hours. So she will be here from 1 to 8 on March the 4th, and dinner will be served. And that is all I have, Ms. Kenneth.
Thank you, Mr. Florence.
Richardson, how are we doing on pictures?
We have received, I think, 3 applications. So we have not started interviews. We're Dr. Churchwell is here. We do have Tim Barker, that's a certified science teacher that's been subbing and driving the school bus for us. So when he can, we're putting him in there so we at least have a certified science teacher there. And then we're not going to rush it, but we're looking at applications. If we have a candidate that we feel like we put in before the end of the school year, we will, and we'll also wait until we get, because we're going to have several graduates probably as that comes, so we just want to kind of see our options before we go too fast. Anybody else?
Thank you, Mr. Florence. Next on our agenda is visitors for the board. I know we have one. Is that correct? Okay. Individuals speaking to the board shall address remarks to the chair and may direct questions to individual board members or staff members only upon approval of the chair. Each person speaking shall state their name, address, and subject of presentation. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes unless time is extended by the board chair. The chair shall have the authority to terminate the remarks of any individual who is disruptive or does not adhere to board rules. Ms. Bain?
Over here.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm Commissioner Debbie Bain, and I live at 80 Whitfield Road, Camden, Tennessee. And I'm not going to take up a lot of your time. I just having to, over Christmas break, run into a group of the high school guys that is in the school here. And I think they had me confused with which place I hold. They probably might have thought I was on the school board. They took it to my attention a couple of small concerns that they had and asked me to bring them to you today. And one of them is that it seems like many of the guys' bathrooms, the stalls, don't have any locks on the doors, and they would like to have those replaced and fixed to where they would work. And another thing is that the urinals in the 300 hall, they're not being used because there's no partitions in between them, and they are just wanting some sort of privacy when they use the facilities. And they brought their concerns to me, and I promised them that I would bring them for you today. I don't know what your rules are as far as the urinals and stuff, but I just thought that I would come and keep my word to them that I would let you know, because when they go to the bathroom, you know, I know it's aggravating when you're at Walmart and the lock don't work. It is for me. And you're holding the door, trying to use facilities, and people are thinking that there's not somebody in there or trying to get in on you. So I thank you for your time. I've done my word, do my due diligence to them and bringing it to your attention. And I would appreciate it if you would give the lack some attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bain. We will let Mr. McDowell, Dr. Churchill's here.
I would like, thank you, Mr. Benton. Dr. Churchwell's here. I do want the board and anybody visiting committee, we have a directors panel made up of students. And that was one of the big issues a couple years ago. Stalls, maybe the way they were built, cracks in the doors, our maintenance staff fixed those. So I'm not aware of any locks. We meet quarterly with these students. It's made up of about 30 students, freshmen through seniors. And so we have addressed those. We will definitely have Dr. Churchwell check those. And Ms. Bain, I would encourage, to report that to the principal, because Ms. Dawn will tell you, and this staff will tell you, that one of my biggest pet peeves is no one likes to go to the restroom in private more than I do. And that is a legitimate concern. And anytime that's brought up, we have addressed it. Sometimes maybe our students don't feel comfortable coming to us, but this thing I want you to know that is addressed probably more so than any other, because I think the staff out here will tell you we have really made some moves to try to improve in that area. So.
Thank you. That is the only visitor that I have on my list. Reminders. Next meeting is Monday, March 3rd at 6 p.m. at Holiday School Library. Spring planning is the next day, Tuesday, March 4th from 1 to 8 p.m. Before that, though, The week before that, on Thursday, February 27th at 5:30, we will have a policy committee meeting, and at 6, a budget committee meeting. I do want to tell Jag and Miss Christy Halsey's digital arts class, thank you for our school board appreciation baskets. That's who those are from. Anything else?
Yeah, thank whoever provided the snacks and all for the teacher appreciation, because I had my fair share, so thank you.
If there is nothing else, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there something? All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.